everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Manga and Anime Podcast. I'm here with my man, Luke Hollywood. What up, Luke?
What up, Jim?
What up? You're up.
Oh,
that's a bonus. He ended up missing it last night. Oh, my goodness
I slept
gracious.
Like a baby.
You did. I ended up trying to get a hold of you and realized after 3-4 hours that was not happening and did some other
It's funny
thing.
because I was so, we were messaging, we were, right on the ball, and then, in the space of 10 minutes, gone. It happens just like that, in an instant.
I was reading some stuff, waiting for you to get back to me, and then I'm like, uh-oh. I do end up at points, sometimes, sending messages that are, little hints, to see if you respond. Now I just put, are you awake? Are you awake? You were tonight. I didn't think so, because I said something, and you did not respond. I'm like, are you awake? You fall asleep again. Oh, my goodness. But here we are, and we're going to be doing something that surprised me that you fell asleep.
Oh.
Because you really like this. It's something, a blast from the past.
Oh.
In fact, it almost was going to be a little, Ghost Rider time, Ghost Rider paradox deal. We were talking about some older stuff, but because it is the spooky month of October, we decided to go spooky. And right away I said, you want to do Phantom Seer? And you were all for it. Right? You ended up. Now, I think I also said we could do Tokyo Ghoul. You're like, well, I kind of did that.
You stepped on my toes.
Yeah,
here.
that was that read this deal. And so then I said, well, we could do Black Cat then, right? Black Cat.
Way.
You love that? you did not like the Black Cat at all, did you? No, but we're going to do a bunch of the spooky side of things, but we're going to start with Phantom Seer. But before we do that, go over to our Twitter at Weird Manga. Follow us, we'll follow you back. Then check out that Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Science Manga, where if you aren't on the Patreon, you're going to get the spookiest month of the year. It's going to be like March, right? It's going to be way down the line. So you're going to miss out on such themed things as the spooky month of the year. Maybe even stuff for Christmas later.
Maybe.
I don't know. Any sort of Christmas manga out there? There's got to be something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Candy Flurry? Is that Christmas?
I hope not. Cold for Christmas, baby. Jeez.
That is true.
Oh.
That is true. But like we said, we're here to talk a little Phantom Seer, something with a spoiler alert. Me and you both do like. One of us may like it a little more.
Oh, my goodness.
But give us some info on that.
Yes, this is a spooky pick. This is the Phantom Seer, written by Togo Goto and art by Kento Misura. Art from Kento Misura, who previously did art on the other short-lived series that you probably have read, Jim, Tokyo Shinobi Squad. Is that ringing any bells?
I actually wanted to read that at one point, and when I was going through stuff, I was mentioning stuff. No, I was actually going through the Jump app and just going down the line. I'm like, ooh, that looks spooky. And then I'd look, that does look spooky. 90 pages, first chapter. We had to do that. But I did, at one point, I did want to try out the Tokyo Shinobi Squad, but a lot of the times, the things that are already done and things I just kind of didn't bother with. But I did like the name of it. It sounded pretty cool.
It was all right.
I think I asked you at one point. And I think you said the same thing, that it was okay.
The art was the best thing about it, and now we get the art here. So it's bada bing, bada boom. That's how it goes. And this is Togo Goto, the writer, the rightist. This is their first big time in the big leagues. The other thing they did was the one shot. So this was based off the one shot, and then boom, straight into the big leagues for a short run. Because we have here first published in Weekly Shonen Jump from August 2020 to April 2021. It doesn't seem like it was that far ago or long ago. It seems like it was like that. That's pretty recent, but it seems like it was really far away, if you know what I mean.
It does, because when we started our thing and all, it was already, we weren't going to talk about it and things. And in my mind, it seems a long time ago. But one of the things about it is we bring it up. I mean, Phantom Seer comes up probably more than any sort of thing that was canceled because, again, it didn't last very long, right? I mean, how many chapters did it have?
Well, it has a total of 4 volumes, and I don't know how many. Let me see on the app.
It's probably going to be somewhere, you can check.
It is over the 19. It's on the 30s. So that's not bad. And here's the weird thing, right? Because people are all, and we've been talking about, everybody's complaining, me and Roboko, and we get the me and Robokos when we don't get the Phantom Seer. Phantom Seer, we always say, like, the volumes, that's the kicker. If the volumes don't sell well, then it's going to get the boot. The volumes for Phantom Seer sold very well. Volume 1 got into the reprints. So, like, it wasn't a problem with it not selling. And Volume 4, like, the final volume, it did gangbusters.
Now, I'm going to ask you, and I don't even know do you know why? Did anybody ever say exactly why it was canceled?
Perhaps that is the biggest spook of them all, Jim. My goodness.
It might be the biggest phantom that we're never seeing. Now, it's funny because this does happen a lot, and we've talked about it, that people yell about Roboko. Oh, or even like a high school family. We got that GOG manga, and we could have had the Phantom Seers. Recently, I saw a bit of that being thrown around because, as we'll probably mention this week on the regular show, as we're recording this, the Witch Watch was only going to be coming out in digital volumes. And when I went to see that, and again, that upset me in the point where I thought that what you were saying is that it was going to get switched up and it was getting canceled. I didn't even know because really, I do not buy physical stuff. So it's not, but it does. I said to you, because even you said, like, what do you care? You would buy that volume and throw it. But what I did tell you is it's a shame because that is the opportunity, if it's a physical volume, to kind of up the audience. So people would see it and check it out.
More
and up
people
the audience and stuff like that. And one person even said, like, why would you buy a physical volume when you've probably already read the chapters, or a digital volume, I'm sorry, when you already read the chapters digitally, and if you just pay a couple bucks, you can have them. So we'll see what it goes. But right away, everybody always has to have the one book they hate to throw out there when the book that they love doesn't get the opportunity. Because right away, why does the elusive samurai get a physical thing? That's all I kept seeing in all of the
people
posts.
Like the elusive samurai.
I guess these people don't. Well, maybe one it is you have a little bit of a witchy romance, and then you have a historical whatever you'd call elusive samurai, and it doesn't cross over the deal. But yeah, I saw so many people. Elusive samurai gets this, elusive samurai get that. And people were kind of shocked because they had been under the assumption that Witch Watch was doing well. And again, Phantom Seer was doing well, like you said. Yeah, it does. And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, what does determine things overall? We don't know. We haven't been able to crack the code.
No, we ain't cracking that code.
I'm sure there are some people. Maybe you have to be in, Walkaday, Japan,
maybe.
Right? That you would know. Like, my friends and me all know that nobody's doing the surveys and picking the Witch Watch.
It's
something like that.
The diners, the malt
shops. Yeah, at the malt shops. Maybe the word is around. And I think what happens is you have these tough guys, right? And they're like, all right, I love the Witch Watch, but I don't need anybody to know that. So I better pick, the big ones.
They put on the Sakamoto days.
One Piece Sakamoto. They're just going with that stuff, right?
Hard-boiled.
Yeah, they're not going with the Witch Watch.
But you say that, but then Blue Box do numbers, and that's
because
the
I think that
romance.
That's full. Maybe Witch Watch gets caught between things. I don't know.
You think the bad boys are saying, badminton? Well,
no,
we do know badminton is only for the bad boys. That's
maybe
correct.
They are. That's bad boy badminton. It's bad boy mitten. That's what they call it.
My goodness.
Oh, jeez. I see. We still haven't cracked the code. We're confused. I'm depressed. So let's get moving here. Any other things with it?
Well, we might as well point out, as we are bringing up the digital volumes, funnily enough, Phantom Seer hasn't had the digital volume treatment yet. And even funnier, I would say, or more ironic, you know what is getting a digital release this month instead of Phantom Seer?
What is that?
Me and Roboko Volume 1.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Me, seriously, and has me and Roboko had any physical volumes yet?
No, there is no chance that me and Roboko
is. Oh, crap. It's a long time to get to one volume right now, right?
Right now, because Volume 5 just dropped, or Volume 4 or Volume 5 just dropped in Japan. So usually we're about 4 or 5
I'm saying,
volumes
did
behind.
they drop digital or did they drop physical
they
in
get the print
Japan?
release in Japan.
Okay, that's what I'm talking
but
about.
there is
Like,
no chance in
it'd be
any
nice.
reality that we're getting print
You mean
versions of me and
they can't
Roboko.
come up with more of those My Hero Academia covers? Get that the hell out. People buy it just for that, right?
That's the big ticket spender right there. Oh my goodness.
Oh, well. And so what you're now telling, see, that's the thing. Witch Watch, though, gets a physical volume release in Japan still?
Yes.
Okay, well, then it's still going to go with that, and maybe we'll get some
Everything
people buying
gets
it.
a print release in Japan. It's only over here
I don't
when
know
they
the
bring it
games
over.
they're playing.
I need to see their
Seriously.
shenanigans.
Also, I did see something a little bit behind, and I think I might have brought this up before, but I want to bring it up again. Say you got these guys Phantom Seer, right? This manga, I don't know if you realize, it's pretty popular around the world.
Pretty big stuff.
What is stopping those two from just making a Kickstarter to continue on their own and end up funding it themselves? Well, what stops them?
Well, don't Shonen Jump have the license?
I don't know.
That's what I don't. The characters.
See, but they're their characters, though. Oh. You would think that maybe you'd be up, or then just go up and change the character name.
There you go.
Joe and Susie. They are now. And again, they may,
Jimmy Bob.
they may have all the rights to it. You may have to sign off all your rights, but that would suck. That would suck. These guys and gals are making their own creations and putting it all on the line, and then it could just be, stop. Maybe you could make a deal with them or something.
I think in a perfect world, we would still have the Phantom Seers and the Roboko stand.
Well, a perfect world, we said. Why not shift it over to the Plus and just keep going that way?
I mean, and you could say the
Just
same for the
digital.
Nine Dragons Ball, that could have went Plus.
I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. But again, there might be some things that we don't understand that are like important to the people behind the scenes, what they want, what they, you may even have the people doing Phantom Seer like, well, we could put it on Plus, and they're like, what, me go Plus? What are you talking about there, buddy? I'm bigger than that. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Bigger than Kaiju? I don't know about that.
I don't know either. But we're going to start off here. And I like this. And you start off with a color page before even the credits. And, and the cover deal is awesome. Gorgeous. It's so good. The beginning, confusing. A lot of these are. There's a rumor going around. They say that if something strange and mysterious occurs, he's a guy you can rely on. And I love that we do end up seeing what's going on. If you pay attention, you have all of the, marks or sigils, the little talismans around. But I love this idea that you start off this book with such heavy stakes as, hey, you're in trouble, you could rely on that, dude.
Is this the A-team?
It makes me laugh.
In school shenanigans?
And in fact, that's not quite the case, but it is.
Oh my goodness.
But it's not what he wants you to know. And I love that you end up covering his face like you're going to be confused in the book of who this is. There's one dude in the book, and he's that guy in that room. But he has that key, right?
Got the keys. Cool key.
And then you end up going, and it's a really cool, color page, the cover deal. And it's funny, too, because just at this point, and I've read this now a couple times. I don't know if we mentioned you fell asleep.
Fallen asleep.
So I read again because I need to have it fresh on my mind. First time I saw the sister on the cover. I'd ended up looking at this cover all those times, and I never, ever had my eye never went that way to where she is. I was always looking at his hand, the key, and the girl.
And the train.
And so, the train. I barely even got the train. I'm telling you. I was more about, our main characters.
One track mind here.
Which I do. Or two tracks as far as the train goes, right?
Oh, my goodness.
And you end up where, you have our main characters, and they are distinct. They look cool, and let's get with it, right? So you start out, and this is the type of start that me and you enjoy.
This chapter, I don't mean to burst the.
I was gonna say, are you gonna toot your horn? That doesn't make any sense.
The horn and burst the beams. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't mean to lay it all out in front of us, but this chapter, looking back, this is exactly the type of chapter that we like. This has all the little trimmings that we want. It's got school shenanigans, it's got really good characters, and they don't they don't delve too much into, like, we get an idea on some of the powers, but it's not like one of them where it's all about the powers.
Yeah, sometimes it gets
characters.
really wonky, and so it doesn't get that way. And you really center on two main characters with a side character that is on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You do see her as the sister. Like I said, I didn't really see that. And I like where you get full out, kind of in your mind, the definitions of how you would look at these characters and how you would go, at least for me, because you end up having Riku Anatsu is our girl here, right? And she likes to help people. Yes. Boom, you like her right away. She's a helpful person. And she ends up at first just helping a little kid fella. He's got a boo-boo. She's got, she is carrying around a bunch of Band-Aids and antiseptic in her backpack. Very odd, but she does even say that my mom is a nurse and her dad's a cop. And so you end up, okay, I got you. She likes helping people. And then it goes a step further where and this is where things get interesting. Second page, I can sense danger. I know when danger's coming, so I can keep people from it. And it's so cool because that's really the thing that really sticks with you. And then they twist it by the end. And you end up finding out that's not exactly what's happening in a way that actually, for a first chapter, is a little bit heartbreaking for this girl because she does seem to take pride in this. Like, this is her thing. She rescues people. I can sense danger. I rescue people so anybody around me is safe because...
And that's what she loves.
Yeah, and she loves it. You know she loves it. Everybody, this is her thing. Mm-hmm. They even say, the one girl gets saved. Hey, don't go down this hallway. All of a sudden, the glass breaks for no reason. And nobody's
Spooky.
Even looking into this, right?
Yeah.
Until you end up getting the other character. But people aren't like, why did this glass... They say, for no reason, this glass breaks. Oh, well... And then at one point, they end up, this girl hugs her. Oh, you did it again. You rescued me. Remember the last time when that driverless car almost run us over? I'm like, oh, those damn driverless cars, right? Yeah. But again, how did that happen and what? But you end up having the next guy, the main other guy comes
Mr.
in and says,
Keys.
Hey. And again, this guy, you do end up almost having Gossip Girls here.
A little.
But this guy says, hey, I saw what you just did. Rico Adatsu, why don't you come and see me sometime? And she looks up and sees him in a weird, shadowy way.
I would not be coming up to see him sometime after seeing this. Jeez.
Now, the only thing I could think, and she does rub her eyes, but the only thing is that, the light's playing a weird thing through tricks with the angle and stuff. But where he is in the shadows, it looks like there's... I don't even know how to explain it. He has shadow goop, almost
Evil
like a
venom.
symbiote thing going off him. And okay, well, hey, I have to talk to you about something. Oh, all right. Stop by the empty class. It's kind of funny because she's just like, well, what's going on? And then you end up with the Gossip Girls. Yeah, I heard that guy has the psychic boy powers. All right. Okay, Gossip Girls, get right to it. Everybody's right to it here. Because, again, we have a shorter chapter for the first chapter, but we're in a couple pages, and we're going to have the big stuff already start.
Mm-hmm.
You end up having... It's funny because a lot of times in these first chapters, you'll have the idea of, meeting the psychic boy just came to school. Okay, I see him. Go home. Meet your parents. Come back. Do this. Do that. This is all within, a half hour?
Boom, boom,
it
boom.
seems, right?
Yeah.
And... she goes into this empty room that she's supposed to meet him in, and he has all these talismans, all these things on the wall, the floor, all that. And you see even where you get the name, I'm here, Iori Katanagi.
Oh.
And he's just sitting there and what's up with this? It looks weird. And he's like, I need it this way. Again, I like the idea that she doesn't question this. You need it this way. What's up with you?
Who lets him decorate? I'm pretty sure you can't just do doodles around the empty classroom like this.
Especially when it's demonic warding spell talismans or something like this. Unless you're in your supernatural club in the Jujutsu Kaisen or something. This is not going to play out.
This school has windows breaking. I'm pretty sure the rules are pretty lax in this place. Again, whatever happens, happens.
It's the only school that you have to have a permission slip just to go that day to school. It's not even like a field trip. They're like, bad things happen here, so we got to watch out. But yeah, she comes in and again, in my crazy mind, I love the idea that they're just open-minded. They'll accept everything. She comes in and there are talismans everywhere. Hey, this is weird. What's going on? Oh, I need it this way. I'm usually here during break periods. Okay, time out. I don't need about break periods. Like, I'm asking you, what? This is weird. What's going on? But she goes, okay. She's like, okay. And I guess it's one of those, he seems confident in his answer. Right? He has an answer. All right, we'll go with it.
It is what it is.
And then this is where I and I'm telling you, in this one page here, and this is a timing issue as well. All of a sudden, he reminds me so much of Khan from Witch Watch that I fell in love with him, even though you're not supposed to fall in love with him as much in this first issue.
He's got an attitude.
In my mind, you're supposed to really be behind this girl already, and they did a good job of it. Like I said, a lot of times, a book will have a villain, he'll kick a dog and then smack a baby, and oh man, that guy's bad, but that feels very forced.
Oh yeah.
Right?
This feels natural.
This didn't feel forced because you just go in, she seems like a nice girl, even when you end up having, why'd you show up? You end up, Katanagi says, why'd you show up here? And she's like, well, I told you I would. And he says, that's not a reason. Most people don't follow strangers anywhere. Now, he's acting as if this is like a guy who's like, hey, you want some watches? Come down here. They're not in an alley in the middle of the city. This is a school kid that they may not know his name, but they know of him.
The psychic boys.
The psychic boy. And so she says, if I wasn't going to come, I would have told you that right away. I wouldn't be rude. And he's like, oh, that's nice of you. In a way that seems like shade because of his attitude. Look at him. Very, very polite. I respect that. You're being sarcastic. And she says, I heard you have psychic powers and you help people. And I love this. She says, basically, this is like one of those things where, hey, you got 4 questions. You got 3 questions to ask me or 3 wishes, whatnot. She has 2 questions here, kind of. She explains it 2 ways. He does have psychic powers, but the last part, you like to help people. He does not. That is his big thing. That's his defining. And right away, you're getting this idea that this is the connection of, the girl who likes to help and the boy who doesn't. And, I could see this. This will be cute. It'll work out. But it's not quite that. It really isn't quite
it's
that.
It's more complex.
Yeah, and layers, as we say, but also even the idea that while, Katanagi does not like to help, he is forced to a lot of times because of the other character. But with that, it looks like he's just, I love this too, where he's like, hey, I don't do anything for others. I only do things for myself, baby. I'm a rebel. And then just seemingly ignores her as if he's looking at his phone. And then, because she says, why'd you want to see me then? And then he's just looking at his phone. He's not realizing he's legitimately taking a picture of her.
Oh, my goodness.
And then says, here, look. Because did you just take a photo? And he's like, yeah, look, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And now we're getting with that spirit photographer vibe here from back.
Where spookies.
This is a pretty horrific monster. Especially, I don't know what freaks me out more. The oblong mouth or all the teeth in it.
Sideways teeth, always spooky.
Sideways teeth are very, very spooky. And so the picture is right there. Here it is. There's a phantom haunting you. And I want to know what service this dude gets to take these phantom photos, right?
Was that the 4G? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, really, it might be the 6G.
Wow.
It's the spook G. You end up where, oh, my God, is that... I love, too, is he has to be big on the terminology. Again, playing off a bit aloof and a bit of a jerk. And she ends up, oh, my God, what is this, a ghost? And he's like, I told you it's a phantom. Like it means anything to her. Riku's just like, I that's what I mean. And he starts going, and all of a sudden, It's like we are now in a yellow submarine.
The spooky
going,
vision.
oh my goodness, where he's like, we call these non-humans that cause strange things to happen phantoms. And sometimes these phantoms hunt humans and take their lives. Now, okay, and really gets like really trippy, that panel. And really, if this would have been in color, oh, that would have probably looked really, really
like
awesome.
12 different colors.
Yeah, oh my God, just that. And he probably would have just still been like full white, like a ghost and all that. But while he says that, he says they normally can't be seen. If you go to places with the kind of things out of the ordinary, you might bump into them and they may get attached to you, things like that. In the meantime, me and you both said 100%.
We cracked the code.
How the heck is this seemingly both of the places in Dan to Dan?
If you go to Dan to Dan,
yeah, because you're next going to get, Turbo Granny's going to steal your junk, and then you're going to end up going to that hospital, and aliens are going to steal your banana organs. I mean, it's done. And it does. It's so weird.
They're like, we're not saying they're the same building, but they're split in image. Like,
oh my God,
uncanny.
it's the same type of motif. It's so uncanny.
It must be like a trope or something.
I mean, what's the trope?
They look the same, know?
I know. What is it like? Oh my God, don't go near old medical colleges or bridges.
It's classic,
it's so much. But yeah, and says you encountered one. Seems that you deal. And she's like, you can't be serious. And then he's just like, hey, somebody wants to talk to you. Now, in the meantime, you do end up having Riku is so amazed as if this technology of a cell phone and somebody calling her is so over the, how did she know I'd be here?
Oh.
Well, you could have ended up having Katnagi call her right before, hey, I told her she'll be here. Okay, then call me back. Like, it's almost like she thinks that this is verging on the supernatural. Now, at points, you do have the sister that is, on the phone. Kind of seems to maybe be able to read minds, so it gets a little more. But it's a weird concept where you see this sister with her crazy rap and all these things going on. I'm not saying she's rapping. She has a eye rap. It's pretty cool looking on kind of a throne-like chair. She is big, and also, if you do notice, does look like that she has the same type of that symbiote-looking shadow power that is kind of emanating off of her.
Hair?
I don't know. Tell. It's going from the floor, so it's hard to tell, but I don't know because it does go all over the place and go around. But it does seem similar to what we saw. And when you're going with this, she's nice to meet you, Riku. How does she know my name? Again, you end up having that Katnagi could have told. He was told to do this anyway. All this stuff runs in. But boy, she is real impressed with this phone call at this point. But the whole idea of this was, how did she get this phantom? Where were you? What did you see? Whatnot? And you figure out that it was on the train. And when she looked out, she did see this phantom. And it's like, oh, you saw him on the train. No, outside the train.
Oh.
And I love this where you end up having Katnagi's like, how could she be outside the train? I'm like, you kind of know, buddy. It's a phantom. The big thing that they're playing out here, though, is from the picture, and I guess he probably sent it to his sister as well. Probably went right to the cloud, right? And she can look at it. But it doesn't look like this is, really, dark clouds. You end up where this is what they think, not as powerful a phantom because it's only a face. Supposedly in this, if you see a whole body, that's big time troubles.
Oh.
And you got to watch out. They do kind of fudge the details as we go, which made me laugh. But the idea, she has to go back to the train. You got to go back there. Let's see what's going on. Let's figure this out. It is kind of a general thing for me about the idea. Okay, well, you go back to the train. We'll get this. All right. Come on, Katnagi's like, I'm not going with you. What do you mean, go with you? And then she freaks out. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it felt a little forced to this idea, but he's going because his sister, she wears the pants in the Phantom Seer family here. And she says, you'll do as I tell you, and you're going. And I like this setup where you don't really like Katnagi at this point, but you feel bad for him because he is being bullied by his sister, who he says is a monster, is a demon. She's the worst. She's that. And yeah, she goes, of course you're going with her. Like, oh man, and your younger brother looks really shocked. It says at that one point.
The expressions are so
look
well
at that.
done.
Yeah, they are, and all the art's really well done in this. I love when you even get the tropes of the crying, all that going on in this. I mean, he is a roller coaster ride of emotions, right? I mean, he's all over the place.
Jeez.
And so he's like, I like how he goes off to the side and is trying to talk low. Like, this isn't what we talked about. You know, you said all I needed to do was get her in this room, and I did what I was supposed to, you know. And then, I take it back. You're a demon for playing around with an innocent boy's heart. He's crying, yelling at his sister. And then you end up having Rico, an innocent boy. She's laughing. It is good. And you know what's good about this, too? Throughout this, you do jump around in different art styles.
Absolutely.
You have some horrific looking things. Sideways teeth, horrific, right? And that panel is as scary or as creepy as anything you'd get in a Jujutsu Kaisen or stuff like that. And then it goes
into gag manga.
It has a lot of gag manga.
Oh, yeah.
And it works, though. And I don't know if it's a certain pacing that they use, that they don't overuse it. It's not like but when it happens, you get a good chunk of it as, you know, you end up, and it's not just done as like, you know, sometimes we'll have things that'll try to play this game and it'll be just one panel like, wah, 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 you know, like that. This is actually through emotion where
it's
you
a good
do
mix.
see it. Yeah. And you go, even when you have that, your brother looks really shy. Like, that is almost like making fun of the horror manga. But yet all of this, including the sisters, you know, her character design is creepy as hell. I mean, and it's really well done, but it does end up making you kind of start liking Nagi because, again, he is emotional. He's just crazy, and he's being bullied a bit. Then you end up, the funny thing is then you end up at the one point where he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. You can rot in hell. You're a jerk. I hate you, you sister. And then all of a sudden that room starts getting all wacky.
Uh-oh.
And that's scary too. I mean, the idea that things are swishing around, it does a really good job of really playing that out on the deal. But then when he gives in, that is the craziest looking panel where he's like, all right, I'll go. Oh, yeah, he's shaking. He's got, like, his eyes are all darkened underneath, like he hasn't slept in a year. But I think that, obviously, it's playing off the idea that what is happening with these talismans and stuff is something that's allowing him to, you know, be himself, not be taken, all that. And when it starts getting a little bit, you know, on the deal.
He needs them there.
Yes, and he said that, and it's starting to take then he's laying on the ground, what appears to be maybe in a pile of his own upchuck. I'm not sure. Look, what is he laying in there?
I don't like
or his tears. I mean, I'm telling you, that's a lot of tears. But, you know, he ends up saying, I have to go with her horrible orders. I cannot say no when she does this. Then you get a little bit of the gag manga with Riku, where he's yelling, don't read my thoughts. Because even in this, where the sister then says, don't worry about him, he's scum. And then she's like, did he just call her brother scum? It's not a real great brother-sister relationship.
A very toxic relationship.
It is. Even with that, when you end up having Rico's like, these siblings make me nervous. And then on the phone, the sister just out of nowhere, it's fine, Rico. Stop reading my mind.
She's so nice, and then these two are like the exact opposite.
Yeah. And it's such a weird, like, you're not getting that typical sister, brother, older sister, younger brother. Like, it's not quite like that. It's worse. It's like really odd. But you end up where the sister tells Rico, don't worry, you know, despite his appearance, he is a scum, but he's a legit shaman.
Oh.
And time's running out. You end up having almost like that. It's like almost like the character profile page where there he is with the shiny key again.
Whoa.
He's all,
and then all
you know,
shaman dudes.
That's his sexiest self there.
Oh my goodness.
We find out though throughout this, and I love the way that it's spelled out even by the end and all that, is that, you know, he could end up becoming better and defeating his sister. His sister's one of the most, you know, big shamans, and she throws, you know, shade at him and even says, well, if you want to stop listening to me, you're going to have to get better and defeat me. Like, there's so many weird things going on with this without really telling you everything. It doesn't like just hand you the info, and I like it that
there's
way.
enough breadcrumbs there because we see how powerful he is.
They give you enough, and they
so
give you enough.
How powerful she must be.
Yeah, I like that. Now they go off to the train. They get on the train. I'll tell you, that train just there as a train set looks great. I mean, it's just a train.
Let's get the train back.
Pretty beat up train, but I could go there. But they go in there and they're going to see what's going on, how this is, and this is where you have some of the things spelled out, and even earlier by the sister and things like that, with the idea of what it is to be what she is and what you have with this. And it'll continue on here with this idea of, is she helping people? Is she the one who's doing things? Or is it a little different because she says, hey, you like helping people, right? You're going to help people. I don't know why you wouldn't, because I like to. I like to help people, and I think I can help people who are in trouble just like you with these phantoms. It's incredible. And I'm going to use my danger sensing ability to keep people out of trouble. And now is when you start getting that idea that things aren't exactly what are happening, because you end up having Katanagi say to Riku, listen, don't rely on your quote unquote special ability. Though they're fickle and hard to control. Special abilities. So like that, he's being very nice. I mean, he isn't coming. Yeah. And even then, he's just saying, like, don't count on that too much, because he knows what's going on and what is happening with her. And in fact, it's pretty much the opposite of what she thinks. But they're just kind of dealing with the stuff right now and trying to figure out what's going back and forth with this with the train. And you do end up having the idea, my sister's a monster. I hate her. I'm doing it. But they're opening up to each other, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty neat deal where you have these characters who you would hope are going to end up, kind of hanging out and things like
buddies.
that. Almost like, they're almost like they each have like a similar issue. They each have something going on, but the big thing about this is they're looking for these phantoms. They're trying to do this, and all of a sudden they pretty much, and I like the way this happens. It's like, boom, all of a sudden they've gone into another dimension. Everybody's gone. Everything's dark. Everything's quiet. Yeah, and now you end up where she says everybody around us has disappeared. What is going on?
Who turned out the lights?
The train's already stopped as well. And then he says, it isn't that. People didn't disappear. We've entered another realm. And I like this little quick thing. She's like, I'm going to hit the emergency button. He's like, well, I guess you could try that. I don't think it's going to work. But we got to go. And then that's when she ends up seeing things. Like, oh my God,
she turns around and she sees some spooky things.
Oh yeah, it is. And she's like, oh my God, they're all here. They're looking at us. Where? Again, it's outside. He doesn't get this idea. But when you see it, it's just eyeballs. Just tons of eyeballs. There's so many. She says there's too many. They're outside the train. Oh my God, a lot of phantoms have gathered. There's so many. You end up having, Katanagi call his sister and saying, hey, we see these, and they're starting to talk about this, but this is the idea where you have pretty much the hopes and dreams of Riku kind of get dashed about what's happening. You go with that, because I've been yapping. What happens when you end up having Riku talk about this to the sister?
Gets a little bit handsy here. Oh no.
Yeah, really. They're all after.
And I like as well, like, as Iori is making the phone call, they keep it very kind of like mysterious. Could this be? I think it is ellipses. We don't know what they're talking about, But what happens next is pretty much all these eyeballs, and they have little hands as well. That's what makes it even creepier. There's eyeballs with little teeny tiny hands, and then I don't know what happens to the glass. The glass in this manga is having problems because the glass just disappears. All the hands come peeking in, and they come grabbing towards poor Aibetsu. It does not look good. And then we do see on the phone the sister is talking to Riku, and she says, as she's pulling some sick balancing moves.
Oh, look at that she's so bored, doing. She's balancing the phone. Also, I have to point out, it looks like a landline that you end up, it's not even a cordless phone, right?
That's how powerful she is.
And she is balancing it on one finger for some damn reason. Well, I don't get it, but she's doing it.
Balanced.
Right? Yeah. But then You go.
So she said, and here we get a little bit of the traumatic background for Aibetsu here, because this is where it's revealed your hopes and your talents may not necessarily align. And we get a little bit of, background. Maybe you're playing the baseballs, but you're really an artiste. And, they don't really go together, apparently. And this is where we have Iori's a big sis, get with the program here. But she explains, and she drops the knowledge bomb onto Aibetsu. Even though you want to help people, your ability might actually put the people around you in danger. She hasn't been sensing the danger. She's been a danger magnet all along. And this I really like the revelation here for Aibetsu and how it hits her. Like, you really get that in the emotions once more in the art,
Yeah. And I really like the idea that, she thinks she's been saving people. She's been putting them in danger.
Oh.
So when she ends up saying, I sense danger, that's the danger she caused. So she ends up now she realizes it. And the whole deal where she's, the glass just broke. And now it starts to make sense for her. Mm-hmm. And it says, in other words, your power checks Phantom. So she ends up all upset. But then at that point, you see her then push Katanagi because, oh my God, even now, I'm doing it, and now we see sideways teeth.
Sideways teeth back out.
Oh my God! And she yells to him, "Run, get out of here! I'm sorry." And that's when they realize that it was, they say, an akubi, and that the idea that, oh my God, that wasn't just a face, that was an entire body. That
All
was the
face.
Entire thing. The faces. So this is stronger. They were not really ready for this.
No.
And so you end up, again, that key is kind of like there. You never really see him, but he starts fiddling with that and all that and saying that he's going to have to save her. And I like this part, too, where he's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, and the sister's almost like, oh, what? You're Mr. Saving Guy now. And he's like, listen, you're going to tell me to do it anyway. So I'm just, but you can tell there's something. And even the idea that she pushed him out. Yeah. And she pushed him away. That, and was pretty much like very brave and like, screw it, I'm taking it. And, and so he says, I feel a little motivated now. And then you kind of go back. It's weird where you go back then to Riku is like, I've been the one attracting these. Like, you kind of step back a bit again with this, but she ends up thinking about this and like, all right, well, if I'm making all this trouble, whatnot, but you do have him then come running because this thing is going to chomp down right on Riku.
And she's thrown in the towel here. She's going to let that happen.
Yeah, and whether or not she's, suicide by phantom, suicide by side teeth, whatnot.
Sideways teeth action.
Yeah, but he gets bit. I mean, he gets hit by these teeth, and then she's looking, but you end up seeing more of his abilities then, where, he did save her, but also the shadow. The shadow's healing his wounds, and ended up where you see him then use full out shadow attacks as he's explaining this to not only just Riku, but this monster as well, and says, my talents. And he says the same thing. I'm like you. The idea of a baseball player who is, an artist wants to be a baseball player, and it's not playing out. He's like, I'm the same deal. I have all my abilities for being a great shaman, and I use that to expel the phantom, but I don't like it.
He doesn't want to do normal kids.
Yeah, and he says, in other words, I possess a really dangerous phantom. He's going with the idea, I'm a full shaman, you might think whatever, but hey, look, and boy, it's a crazy demon.
Oh, that's his turn? That's huge.
It's bad butt, right? Oh, yeah. She's petrified, she's crying, you end up having the sister giggling, and it's a really good progression about him, hey, this is the shadow demon Angyuki. Things are going to get real hairy in a minute, and watch out. And I love the progression of this because, first off, you end up having Angyuki step on the shadow of this sideways teeth monster deal, and that locks them in. You can't escape. That is the big shadow step. Boom, freeze. And what I really like is this whole rule set that they bring up. It's very quick. It's very easy to, remember. If he summons the shadow demon and there's nothing for the shadow demon to fight or eat or whatnot, it will then eat Katanagi and kill him. That's kind of the
He's
rule
lunch.
there, is as long as there's something for it to fight and whatever, that's fine. But if he summons him and there isn't anything there, he's done. He is going to get eaten. And he even says at one point, too, like, I feel bad for you. It is just imagine the scene where you already have sideways teeth, horrific. Also, I want to mention that if you look down sideways teeth, throat, there's more sideways teeth down the line. It's awful.
Chopping the whole way down. Jeez.
This shadow demon that he ends up summoning puts like a knife, sword through this thing and then pulls it back through this freaking doorway like a pit to hell type.
That's where the key. That's the doorway to hell.
Yeah, that's the doorway. Ooh. And what I like about this in a way that we can tie it in, it really felt like an over-the-top summon in like a Final Fantasy game
this
like
is like
that.
Summon, this is like the final boss summon. This thing is going to defeat
I'm telling
anything.
you, it feels like that sort of deal. Now, what's fun is when I would play Final Fantasy VII, the summons, they're awesome until like the 80th million time. And you're like, and at that point, you couldn't even get rid of them. You have to watch. I'm like, I've seen you, Ifrit. You're not that impressive anymore.
But even that door, that kind of has like the full.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
vibe.
The full thing in there really is well played. And
absolutely.
I'm telling you, it's bad enough to see that, but you almost do feel bad. And he says he feels bad for Sideways Teeth, and then says both you and I ran into the wrong enemy. Because this shadow demon, the way he explains it, is not like friendly.
You can kind of see why he's like reluctant to get involved after when this is what it is to fight. You probably wouldn't want to be doing this yourself.
No, and the sister actually starts. Sister gives him props at one point and says, like, he may not want to do this, and he may be, not as good as me, but nobody else has been able to handle this shadow demon, and he's able to do this. And like I said, when you end up having this thing like back up through that door, it is horrific. It really is scary, and it really kind of like, oh my God, yet it's him killing another demon, which shouldn't be that upsetting. But
it's good, but it's the biggest monster of them all.
And they're like, okay, is it over? And yeah, we did that. Now with that, it's weird because this isn't the idea of, okay, you save Riku. I mean, really, if you wanted to go the way, you could make this a one shot, really, and have him save Riku and then, okay, well, thanks a lot. I'll see you the next day at school. This is great. Thank you. And now all of a sudden, she can't sense danger and gets run over by a driverless car. That's how I get it.
One of them driverless cars again?
But the thing is that this isn't the only... she is, pretty important. She actually is something that always will attract these phantoms, these
and she
demons.
Has a use in the shaman world.
Yeah, and that's what ties everything, because you do end up having Katanagi's like, yep, that's it. All right, I'm out. Now, he is nice, though, where he says, listen, I know that you want to help people. I know that you were just told that everything you do puts people, but be yourself. Just try. Don't let it, because he says sometimes maybe an artist can become a baseball player. And maybe you should be yourself. And then the funny thing is he says all this, and then he has to start screaming about his deal. He wants to be a normal kid. That's all he wants to be.
That's his dreams.
Yep. He's like, hey, and he says, you don't have to deny yourself. And she goes, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to be he just screams out it. The goofy look in the next panel where she's like smiling at him is so funny. But he says, all right, I'm out. I'm done. What's going on? All that. And that's where you get this whole deal that he can't just walk away. He has to protect her. He has to end up, because she is known as one of the beckoning hands. And again, I haven't read all the rest of this. You have. I'm assuming that pretty much she is just bait to get these demons so that they can defeat them.
Like, they kind of, you think, like, oh, she's just going to be like the damsel in distress.
That's what it seems.
It's surprising how much they kind of involve her, and like she does become a power player in her own right.
Okay. I just assume that if you are a shaman that ends up fighting these things, you need to get things going, and the action's always going to be around Riku.
It's a nice way to have it as like a tag team with the two of them.
And so you end up where, okay, we're going to do this. He's all upset. He's like, why can't anybody else do it? I refuse to play this. I won't do it. And that's when he says, I want my freedom. And she goes, oh, freedom. Oh, well, then you're going to have to be stronger than me and defeat me. Then you won't ever have to listen to what I say. And that's a good setup to even get behind Katnagi. You're like, okay, let's get going. Let's do it. Let's see him do it. And, but she, seems to be happy about it. And, he might not be at first. He looks a little off, but it says that's how my relationship to the strange psychic boy began.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I like it. I really did like it. I thought that it was a really good first chapter.
Is this your first time? Well, this is probably your fourth time by the time we got around to recording.
And this round is, I never had read it before. And
oh wow.
The problem is that it's tough when we're doing all the other things for me to devote time to say I'm going to read this thing that was canceled already.
Only 30 chapters.
I haven't finished all of the Ghost Rider Time Paradox because it got canceled. And I did. I think I only got to like chapter 8. That thing got canceled quick. Didn't it have like just 14 chapters, something like
volumes.
that? Yeah,
although the second volume did have a little bonus chapter.
Okay, well, there you go. But yeah, with all of that, I never read any of this because it had already been canceled, things like that. So, and like you said, it's weird because it seems like it was, and I think that at one point, I think if I remember right, we started deciding we were going to, do this on a regular feed. We're going to do that. And I think I did say when we were just getting things together and starting, like, oh, should I catch up with that? And you said, oh, no, it's already been announced that it's done. And, word is, we've had this recently with some things even now where I start talking to you and you're like, yeah, Dr. Stone's on the end game. That's not,
no point in
by the time
up.
I would catch up, there's no way I'm catching up in time for it to get canceled. I think that was one of the ones that you said, like it had just been out and about that. Yeah, in the next couple chapters it's done. So I never did read it. I'd love to say that I'm going to go forward from here and read it because I do think it's worth it.
Big dreams.
But yeah, I'm not even going to pretend that that's going to happen. It really probably won't.
It was a solid series. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it got canceled too early." I think they went a little bit off the rails. I think like the strongest thing here, I think, as we pointed out, is the characters. Like it got a little bit confusing with like all the shadow demon stuff and the Beckett and Hands. Even that there was a lot going on with that as well. I got a little bit like a little bit towards the undead, unluck side of things. Where like you just read it for the characters, not for the powers, because you don't understand what's going on. But I think it was like for 30 chapters, it had something. You know what I mean? It had something.
This first chapter had, what we like. I'm into the characters. I'm going. And, if this was just starting or whatnot, I'd be all into it. We'd be definitely talking about it. We'd be, into the deal and whatnot.
Great first chapter.
And maybe at some point we'll, like some of the others, we've gone to the second chapter and things like that. Maybe at some point, maybe we'll come back
Halloween
and do
2022.
another. Yeah, I'm telling you, about a year from now, maybe we'll come back to that. But who knows? By then we'll have a lot of spooky things. Who can tell? But what would you give it?
I'll go. I'm gonna go big. I'll go 9.5 for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go solid 9.
Oh,
I really did like it. Again, it's a weird deal. You're reading it coming back after reading all of it, so I think that maybe you see some things that, oh my god, like that was already set up, and that I think that as I went on, at least trusting what you said, that I'd probably even like it even more going back.
I think
to this,
what you've been saying as well, though, like this could work even as a one shot. Like, you have enough of the twists, like the twist with Aibetsu. Like, there's enough there, and then, like, the whole mystery going on with Iori and the sister. There's enough going on to set things up, but also have it satisfying as just the one and done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm telling you, at the end, it could just be that idea of almost like that ghost seer photograph. I always forget. But the idea of, that sort of thing. This kid who comes and stops her with that one and then goes forward with it. Yeah. I think that is, one of those deals that you could have had, but that means that that's a really, really big chapter. You know what I mean? If it's good enough to actually be a one shot, then you really did lay the foundations really well to
yeah.
have it. Sometimes you get these and we're like, I don't even know what happened here. And, obviously that couldn't be a one-shot. But
I wonder if it was just like a thing where, like, you already had Jujutsu Kaisen going. So, like, because this is filling, like, the spooky vibes big time. And, like, and Jujutsu Kaisen kind of has, like, the shaman vibes. So I was wondering if it was a thing where it was, like, too much of this. And, like,
it might have
been
a
lot of the demon, like, at that time, there was a lot of the demon manga going on. Like, we had Demon Slayer, we had a whole bunch of, like, evil spooky.
And that's actually, you say that, that's why I kind of did dig that they started up Dan, that we ended up having that translated, because when me and you, at least the stuff, because I'm not caught up with Jujutsu Kaisen, a lot of people probably aren't, because if they just started, there's a lot of chapters, whatnot, but there isn't a ton. It did get, when we first started on just doing Patreon stuff originally back at the Manga Monday, when it was just, us doing it there, a lot of gag manga, and there was a lot. And a lot of people were complaining about that. And then you ended up where you got, a couple now like romance. That you end up having those ebbs and flows of things, and maybe at that point that it just came at the wrong time, because if it would have come at the end of that gag manga, like maybe it would have hit better. Maybe people would have been more.
Even like if it had it could have been like the next Dan. Dan's big because it has like that crazy alien shenanigans, but like on a Jump Plus, I think this would have done very well.
Yeah, and we keep saying it, but I don't know why sometimes you don't shift it down to that. Yeah, it might feel like it's it's kind of a downgrade or whatnot.
The heavy hitters are in the Jump Plus,
and you can then maybe regain an audience, keep an audience, get something going where
get the volume sales back up, and then go back into the magazine.
Yeah, and even if you didn't go in the magazine, maybe some books like this are meant to be in that different deal. You know what I mean? Maybe it would play off. Maybe it would play off better, because then all of a sudden you could have this come out on Wednesday all by itself, right? And people, okay, I'll give it a shot. I think that there are
Wednesdays.
I think that there are people probably that will check out a Kaiju number 8 only because, well, what else do I have to do on Thursday? It comes out Thursday, nothing else. It's quick, boom, and you start to like it. If you don't like it, you just skip it. But even the idea, we're not really loving Diamonds in the Rough, but
we still go every Tuesday.
It comes out on Tuesday. What the hell else comes out? I'll check it out.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, I think that there's something to that, and it gives you a little more flexibility with a book that maybe, like you said, maybe in the magazine there were too many of these type of things.
With all the heavy hitters.
It's not it. We could tell. We're even talking about the idea. It has a little gag manga thing. Maybe it's kind of stuck between where the people who really wanted the horror stuff, they're going to go with the Jujutsu Kaisen or even the Demon Slayer, whatever was, the deal. But there is something here that's different. And you know what? I think that basically the whole deal for me is I'm not a real horror manga fan. So when we go into it, it's not the horror that gets me. It never is. That's why the Dan, I don't like it because of I like it because it's funny at points in the character. Even something like, it's not a horror type deal, but like an Aikeshi Triangle does have spirits and stuff and whatever. Yeah. But I like that more than, say, like a really dark, even like Jujutsu
like the
Kaisen.
Saucy bits,
I like the saucy bits.
Don't read it on the bus.
Again, though, this, it has that, it's kind of like caught in between, but it has the between stuff that I actually do enjoy.
It is a very odd type of mix of stuff. Like, it's got all the little bits that we like, but maybe it's too much of a combination. It never really found its little niche, I think, as a result.
Yeah, and I could even go as far as to say that it almost feels like it's just the next phase. If you take Phantom Seer and okay, let's dial back the horror part a little bit more. It's almost like what we get with Witch Watch. Witch Watch has a very, the character moments. It has more of a gag type feel to it, though it still has a little bit of this. Like, that's what I really like. I don't like the horror stuff, but you could throw that in, and I like the combo in this. I thought that it was well played out. And I am I still see. I mean, you could go on Twitter right now and find somebody bitching and moaning that
there is
this
still
got canceled.
of
And
everything that's we've seen, even in the time that we've been doing it, we've seen a lot of series come and go. But there is still a little bit for Time Paradox. There's still some bad blood. But I've never seen like people will they'll die on the hill for Phantom Seer. They people are obsessed with this. And it's the thing about them volume sales in Japan, and the fact they got a reprint. So it wasn't a case of it's not doing numbers, so we better give it the axe. I'm telling you, it was something weird happened. Like there was no logical reason for it to pull the plug like that. You know what I mean? And we got Candy Flurry as a replacement. You gotta be kidding me. You know what I mean?
Yep. Here we go. Oh. I just typed into Twitter. Phantom Seer. This book has been canceled for quite some time. Right?
Half a year.
Half a year. I guarantee you there's not a lot of people yelling, "Oh man, I tell C," or the 9 Dragon Balls. I put in Phantom Seer 8 hours ago. Somebody tweeted out, just thinking about how if Phantom Seer wouldn't have gotten the axe, it would have been licensed by Viz already.
Jeez.
3 hours ago, someone ends up asking, what do you think is the one manga that should have not gotten the axe? Phantom Seer. Then you get the next one, 20 hours ago. Red Hood is really beeping good, but I can't get attached to it like I did with Phantom Seer. So right there, it's like singing your tune, right?
I swear, if Shonen Jump decided, all right, we are bringing the grand reunion, we're bringing Phantom Seer back, Jump Plus only, people would be doing cartwheels. They would this. This has been on the tip of everybody's tongue for half a year. So if you brought it back somehow, even just as a special one-off, people would love it. It'd be huge.
Here's the next one. You'll like this one. Somebody has a tweet because the next issue of Shonen Jump, issue 46 cover, me and Roboko.
Uh-oh.
And somebody ends up yelling about that I'm having Phantom Seer flashbacks. And then you end up, and I'm going into this and seeing the things, and then the person's like, well, Roboko was on that fancy TV show, so a cover makes sense. No, this is ridiculous. The next person says, curious what me and Roboko manga does because I think it sucks. And then somebody says, I will never get over the fact that me and Roboko continues to go and gets covers and Phantom Seer got
there you go.
This, and then you end up where there is a poll here where, and I'm going to vote, this person asks, which manga will still be around this time next year? And you have Red Hood, Neru, Magu-chan, and Dr. Stone, which you actually told me that was, almost just going to end its own deal. I'm going to put right here, I'm going to go Neru.
That's a safe bet.
Oh, Neru is the least. Everybody voted Dr. Stone. Is it going to last another year with that, and then it wraps up? Because that would be a safe bet if it will last a year wrapping up.
I'm thinking it's maybe the end of this year, if even, and that's it.
53% Dr. Stone, Red Hood 23, Neru 5, and Magu-chan 18. They have the deal there.
Magu-chan's one where I could go anytime.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pick, is I think that's one of those, like anything like that. You end up having... Me and Roboko could go at any time. I mean, really. It really could. But yeah, people are slipping out.
And it people don't. Red Hood get the U19.
3 hours ago. Me remembering Build King got axed, but then also remembering Phantom Seer got axed. And it's smiling at the Build King and then upset about the Phantom Seer.
Build King was trash.
And then it actually has the next one. And the final one I'll have from just a little bit ago. I can't believe that Roboko will actually outlive Phantom Seer, Red Hood, and Neru. It's the deal there. But it's nonstop.
Yeah, it's still, people still talk about it. Nobody's talking about ITLC, but they still talk about Phantom Seer.
It's funny. Another one is going on about what you had told me about the lineup and where they fall in the lineup. And Red Hood was just last again.
At the bottom.
And supposedly they're saying that it will be again next week. So this person put Red Hood as the next Phantom Seer. I know, it's crazy, right? So
I've never seen, like, even before, I've never seen any kind of, like, reluctance to, like, let it go. You know, that they are still adamant that, like,
it's
that
funny
they were
too,
done
because,
dirty with this one.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm not in tune as much. I don't have the pulse of the streets as much as, say, a DC Comics or whatever, where you could ask me any question, I would know, whatever. But you're right. Just what I've seen, I have not seen people not being able to let go of a series that was canceled. And
it's almost
a series
as bad
that was
as Green
canceled,
Lantern, like, Kyle Rayner.
It's weird though. Like, if it almost feels like this is like, you know, all of a sudden One Piece is ending and nobody wants it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and it wasn't like a bad, like, that final chapter, not a bad way to go. I actually thought it was a very satisfying wrap up. So
not
it's not
like
even
that hard-boiled cop. And who's yelling about hard-boiled cop and Dublin? Except Clay. Clay still thinks it's coming.
Hard-boiled cop had a rubbish ending.
I can imagine that Clay's there and he pulls up the app and he's like, "Oh, no new chapter. I think it might come out on Monday." He just keeps trying.
But it's not even like, you know, like it got, they wrapped it up too early and he had to rush the story. It had a satisfying ending, but still people are upset. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. It's so,
what it is.
It's so crazy. Oh my God. I'm looking at also, they have some circulation numbers. This is almost like out of the blue news or whatever.
Oh, presses.
Me and Roboco looks like it has one volume, 20,000 copies is what was sold. That's not great, right? But, you know, it's there. A lot of these others are huge, though. Holy moly. I mean, seriously, One Piece has like almost 500 million copies out there.
Gag is never going to do big anyway.
No, it's not. Mashal is like, looks like 2.5 million in 8 volumes. It's saying that's great. Blue Box, 2 volumes. 350,000. Now that's not going away. That's pretty good.
That's a big one
for what that is. Yeah. Now I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and I'm going through this. Like, Undead Unluck has like over 1 million. What the heck? What's going on over there?
You got
to get some of this manga money.
Oh my
right?
goodness!
Holy moly, what's going down? But that was just something there. Here we go. One last one, because from that chart, somebody then has to say, Roboco only got 20,000 yet. Phantom was axed.
Like, they're not even related. Like, I don't think Roboco mentions every job. I don't think it's maybe that's what it is. It never talked about Phantom Seer, so now people think it's out to get.
That's what it was out to get.
Oh my goodness!
And then it ends up. Oh wait. Here you go. It says at this point, this guy says, "Do you not understand why Phantom Seer was axed? It had 100,000 in circulation, but per 4 weeks, it only sold like 15K, and it was dead last in the TOC."
Oh,
what's the TOC? That sounds like a rapper. You want the TMC. Okay, and then it says Roboco's higher up in the table of contents. But again, that's kind of
always high in the table of contents.
The idea of that table of contents, though, to me, is the chicken and the egg. You know, what makes it go up, and then if it's up, does it go down? You know what I mean? Yeah, so... Oh, man, people just... All I see is Phantom Seer now. It's so crazy, but I agree.
That's great. Like, people
really
are talking
good.
about this 8 hours ago.
I love that,
this series is done.
Yeah,
it's
finished. Done. It's not coming back.
Like,
and yet
nobody's talking about it. Jeez.
They are butthurt. They are so angry about this. And any book that's going to be taken from them is going to end up being, said that it's now that. Now they can get mad at that. They get mad at every book that it's based on. I'm looking at I Tell C to see if I can find anything.
Nobody talked about that even when it was coming out.
I Tell C. No. I'm keep going down because I Tell C brings up a lot of crazy things, it seems. All right. One tweet. I love this I Tell C. That's from July 30th. That's the earliest one. Yeah, so that's it. That's it, and nothing else. And that's the top ones. That wasn't even the latest. The Phantom Seer, I didn't even go to latest. I went to top, and there's tons. Yeah, so it's always going to be that one. It's like this weird poster child for a book that shouldn't have been canceled, I guess. And people are not going to give that up. They thought that, again, you said it was nice. It's okay.
Very
we like the first one.
From what I've heard, the final volume has like a nice little bonus chapter wrap up there. So, like, by all accounts, it went out on a high note,
Yeah. I'm looking. I looked at the latest now just to keep it going. The latest tweet about Phantom Seer is 5 minutes ago. And 5 minutes ago, somebody was yelling that they can't take it that Phantom Seer was canceled.
There's a problem. People can't let it go. Jeez.
Now, I'll give them credit. Now, this might end up pissed, but you could hit the hashtag there. We could end up, you could have, bring back Phantom Seer, start the whole deal, and maybe it would come back. I'm not getting involved in that.
I think this might be our biggest podcast yet because clearly Phantom Seer is still on the minds of the nation. They gotta talk about this Phantom Seer.
It's almost like this should be hot off the presses or something.
My goodness.
The way that this
it never left the presses from the sound
really, of it. It hasn't left their minds.
The hearts and minds of the nation. Jeez.
Phantom Seer is so tired right now because it's running through everyone's mind at this moment. It's getting more exercise than I ever will. Holy moly. I can't believe it. I'm looking at this. It's like 100 tweets in the last 10 minutes. Now, they might all be from one person. I'm seeing one person is really, really upset.
Number one fan.
Oh, my God. This guy is so angry that they end up that everything is getting shade thrown at it. Sakamoto Days is bullcrap for them because everything isn't Phantom Seer. There's another one. Whose chapter are you most hyped to read next? This person put Phantom Seer on that.
I think he's going to be waiting a while.
Black Clover, One Piece, Red Hood, Phantom Seer. Here I go. Yep, Phantom Seer's winning. Only 12 votes, but it's winning the poll.
I don't understand, but they're obsessed.
Oh my God,
it's crazy.
There's another person that's getting everybody. They're putting up pictures of it, everything. Holy crap. All right. I don't see anybody yelling about that haiku this much, right? You like that. That was one of the ones that you really enjoyed, Tony.
That was a big one.
I don't see you getting out there and, banging the drum.
Tooting that horn. Oh, jeez.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's that. That's an extended ending of nonsense about us being amazed at the staying power of butt-hurtness.
Have you ever seen anything like that
No.
in comic books, in manga? I've never seen in TV shows. I've never seen anything like this. They won't let it go.
People were upset when Tom King got fired off of Batman, but they're not like this. This is crazy. Holy moly. Holy crap. Yeah, they love it. They love their Phantom Seer. Just imagine if they came out. Now, I would love it. It'd become one of those situations where it happens all the time. Oh, my God, everybody's into this. Let's bring it back. Bombs.
And then it bombs.
That's what they end up where Firefly ends up getting canceled from TV. And they're like, oh, my God, there's such a groundswell. I think they end up making a movie of bombs. Like, oh, well, I guess people like to bitch more than watch. But I think that if I guess they just don't want these, and people move on. And they go to do
like the fact that you have two people, you have a writist and an artist.
Can you imagine they just sit there every day? They're calling each other. They're still yelling.
Maybe they're setting up all the Phantom Seer accounts on the Twitter. We keep it alive.
It's like, hey, you got your burner accounts going? Damn right I do. Phantom Seer fan 102 is now going to get pissed. Send him 103. This guy likes to be like, I don't want to mix him up. He's got all these burner phones laying there so that he doesn't mess them up. Each one has it. He's like, all right, bring back the Phantom Seer. Oh my! Here's a poll. What do you want to read next? Phantom Seer. I might just put up a poll. What is the book that got canceled way too early? And it'll be 4 picks off Phantom Seer. But we'll see which of the Phantom Seers of the 4 wins. I might do that just as a joke, but then somebody will be like, oh, what is this guy? What is he trying to pull?
Well, the Phantom Seer fans will be behind us. And apparently that's a lot of people, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, again, we'll see when this actually hits the regular deal. We'll see if they remember it.
They'll be still talking about
14
it 6
weeks
months
from now. It'll still be going strong.
Oh, absolutely.
Holy moly. But there you go. Thanks for staying awake. Look, we ended up going through this. I'm glad we had we haven't had one of these at the end nonsense deals before. Yeah. I remember at one point, I forget what we were yelling about, but it was like 25 minutes at the end of that one about some nonsense.
That's always nonsense.
But yeah, there we go. So yeah, if I remember right, you gave it a 9.5. I gave it a 9. We both really liked it, people are butt hurt. They want this book back. Is Shonen Jump listening? No. But if they were, they're well aware. They
again, no, but that's the thing. Even if you look at when they were doing those new releases, and I remember I sent you the link for that Week Watch. Yeah. If you look in the comments, there's going to be somebody saying, "What about Phantom Seer?" Mm-hmm. When that is done, and let it be. You know,
when are we getting the volumes?
They won't shut up. I'm telling you, it's nuts.
They're very loyal. They're very, very enthusiastic and loyal to their books. So, but that's the deal. But yeah, that's it. So we will be going off. We'll figure out the spooky nature of next week's manga on Monday. So everybody, look out for that. And that's it. So thank you, Luke. Thanks everybody. And we'll talk to you later.
We are fighters. We fight until we win. The